Welcome back, everybody. We got another great basketball game between number 2 Houston and number 20 Tennessee. Those rankings are obviously subject to change. This is filmed before the AP poll came out. Houston's best win against number 22 Auburn, which they were ranked number 22 at the time, and they beat them by 1. A little bit of controversy there, but a win is a win. And Tennessee's best win is, I don't know, probably Mercer maybe. They've played not great teams, all bottom D1 teams. But they've won all 5 of them, so that's all you can really ask for Tennessee. And let's just start from the start. What do you need to see from Houston and or Tennessee to feel confident about them moving forward?
Well, just to start off, you know Houston's a physical team. That's what they're known for, and they've shown that so far this year. And so we're going to get more into this later, and we can't just jump right into this now. But Tennessee needs to be physical in this game. They have to win. They got to do their best to win the rebound battle. It's going to be hard, but if they can just say they only lose it by 5 to 10, I think that's a win in Tennessee's book. Tennessee does have good centers and forwards, tall, physical. So I think it won't be easy, but it should be easier than other teams to do that.
Should be achievable.
Yeah, it should be achievable. It's not a goal that's too far to reach.
Not unfortunately, but that matter lies in the hands of freshman Nate Ament. He's been great so far. He's averaging 8.5 rebounds per game, which leads the team. It also kind of falls on Felix Akpar's hands. Those two are in the starting 5 together, and then occasionally it'll fall on Cade Phillips' hands, who is pretty much their 6th man, I would say. And just kind of going along with the toughness of this Houston team, they're, according to Ken Palm, the best defensive team in the country, which I can believe for sure. I mean, their offense isn't horrible. It's just it does what it needs to outscore what the defense gives up. And
number 11, Joseph Tugler, is arguably one of the best defensive players in the country. Come March, come April, he'll be up for one of the finalists for the Defensive Player of the Year, most likely.
The hardest thing about this matchup is that although Houston did play Auburn, Tennessee hasn't played anybody, and besides Auburn, Houston hasn't really played anybody either. So it's hard to really base each other's performances from the season so far off one another. So that's what I'm most excited for. And to answer the question about what I need to see, I just need to see, for Tennessee at least, I need to see Nate Ament and see how he performs in this game. A lot of this game relies on him. He has done everything for this team so far. I mean, he leads the team right now in 18.8 points per game and assists per game, I believe. Steals per game. So he's doing pretty much all of it, and props to him. Every part of his game is clicking, and to see that out of a true freshman is very, very encouraging. And then on the Houston side, I need to see another freshman, which we can get into this later, Kingston Flemings, perform. He did great in the Auburn game, which is fantastic, being an early game for a true freshman. Once again, same thing there.
He's their leading scorer so far.
Yes, and in that game alone, he was their leading scorer, scoring 22. But in this game, he's facing the 3rd best defense in Tennessee. So it's pretty much for me, I need to see how these true freshmen do. They're really except for Emmanuel Sharp on Houston's team, the freshmen on both teams are really what matters for their team down the road.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like both teams, but from what we said, it's a defensive team. That's where they find their identity in.
Number 1 and number 3 defense, which is insane.
This is what you want, and this is probably, we've said this about other matchups that we've talked about and produced videos about, but this might be the best defense they faced all year, or they will face all year.
Very likely.
1 and 3, it can't get much better than that. So this really will really show what the freshmen are made about.
And let's move into the Houston team. So we talked a lot about Tennessee. Houston, I kind of touched on it, freshman there. But even still, Emmanuel Sharp, his senior season so far, playing great. He's 15 points per game, 3.8 rebounds per game, which is a step up from his 2023 or his last 2 seasons. He averaged 12.5 points per game and 3 rebounds per game. And so far through 5 games, once again, not a big sample size, but this is all we can really take from. He's averaging 16 points per game and 3.8 rebounds per game. So if he can keep that up, this Houston team is in a great spot, and he does need to keep that up just to kind of take some of the pressure off of Kingston Flemings. he's a freshman. You would have to think he's going to fail at some point during the season. And if you're Emmanuel Sharp, you're thinking, all right, I'll let him do his thing until he needs my help, and that's where he'll be.
Yeah, I agree. He was first team All Big 12 in the preseason, and he's got to be the leader on this team with the freshmen we're talking about, Kingston Fleming and Chris Sinak Jr. Both of those guys are proven to be scorers. Fleming showed it against Auburn, and Sinak is there too. And so if Sharp can just rely or help the freshmen rely on him and just take it when he needs it, I think that it would be huge for Houston. Another thing about Houston is their defense is really solid. We've talked about this. Yes. They're very physical, the most physical team in the nation. We talked on that too. So they're going to show it. They're going to bring it. That's a given. But the one thing I want to see is against Auburn they were a little shaky on offense. A couple of crazy shots, not needed shots. Some possessions took all the way down to the buzzer of the shot clock that just weren't needed. And so if they can clean up their offensive side, I know that's how the style of gameplay they can play with their defensive help. But they're really good. They're really good in transition, which helps them and kind of helps create that chaos, which I'll give that to them. But great defense and great transition, you can't ask for much better.
Yeah, we'll move on here soon. But just to wrap that all up, Tennessee, this is about as big of a test as they're going to get. They're going to play a total of 10 ranked teams right now. Looks like that's probably going to be the max it'll be, just with who was ranked on their schedule and who wasn't. But what better of a task could you want for Rick Barnes, who, by the way, is the winningest head coach right now in college Division I basketball, which is congrats to him. Would like to see him win a championship before he goes out. But anyway, so this is what Tennessee wants. They want to see how their team stacks up with the best defensive team and with just one of the best teams in the whole nation. So this is going to be a great test for them.
I'm interested to see how Houston's front court stacks up against Tennessee's front court. Tennessee's front court is arguably one of the best in the nation. And I'm just interested to see how those guys react to this challenge against a physical Houston team.
Yeah, the guys on the front court are Nate Ammett, freshman, who we've talked about lots. He's talented, one of the highest recruits pretty much ever in Tennessee basketball. Then you got Felix Akpar, and then you got Cade Phillips also coming off the bench. So three great guys that are really going to be how this team just is operating throughout the whole season. To get them going early against the Houston team is going to be crucial. Let's now move on to what makes you most excited about these teams. They're both March Madness caliber teams, but what you're most excited about?
I'm just excited to see how they progress. Tennessee, the only returning starter is Felix.
Yeah, they've lost 80% of their scoring from last year.
Yeah, so the only returner is Felix. They've got a Maryland transfer, and then they have all the guys we talked about. So I'm just excited to see how Tennessee progresses. They're already arguably a really solid team, and one that if they continue to progress, some might pick for their natty come March. And then on the Houston side, I'm just interested to see how the freshmen progress. Both of them, you could argue both of them are young teams.
Yeah.
Obviously, Houston has Emmanuel Sharp, who's a great part of their team, and then Tennessee has Felix. But they're both arguably young, and so for a good matchup this early in the season, it's pretty exciting to see. And this is what college basketball is all about. Freshmen and young teams playing against another young team.
Yeah.
We've kind of lost that in the NIL era with all the transfers and stuff. I mean, a couple of years ago we were having 6-year seniors playing in March Madness. So it'll be chaotic, but that's what's going to be fun about this game.
And that's what I'm most looking forward to as well. Just the ebbs and flow of both teams. They're going to have some rough spots. We kind of saw that with the Auburn game. I'm sure a lot of people at the time thought Houston was going to blow them out, which is reasonable, but at the same time, not reasonable at all with the new guys coming in. But I'm most excited for the freshmen, how they progress, and mainly on the Tennessee side, how they all come together. And I would not be shocked if Tennessee's a top 10 team at the end of this year, just with all the new guys coming in. 80% of your scoring left. So Felix is the only one that's been there
and he was
pretty
not
much
a big
his whole
scorer.
career. And he came in after his freshman year from Ohio State, but he's not like really a scorer. He's just there for defense, for rebounds. Occasionally he'll work himself into the offense, but The other guys, 80% of the team is what's going to matter for this Tennessee offense, and so that's what I'm most excited for to see in this game and throughout the absolute gauntlet of a schedule they're going to play, facing up to 10 ranked teams.
Yeah, I think this game really just comes down to the coaches. They're kind of in the same. Both teams are kind of in the same scenario. Obviously, it seems like Houston has the edge just because of how physical they are, and it'll really test Tennessee physicality-wise.
And just a little more experience.
Yes, yeah, I agree. But at the same time, this really is just going to be in-game improvements and adjustments and how well coaches can coach their young team and young players.
Yep. All right, let's wrap it up with predictions. Who you got?
I gotta go Houston. I love the physicality they play with. I'm a big rebound guy. If they can get second chance points, which they do, and they probably will against Tennessee, I think that's going to separate them from Tennessee is the second chance points and limiting Tennessee to those second chance points as well with all their defensive rebounds.
Yeah, we've had a lot of basketball games that we talked about on here, and this is probably the hardest one I've had to predict just because we don't know a lot about them, and they're so similar. They both are elite defensive teams, and you can see that from the coaching, and then the offense is what struggled. So I think I'm going to have to go with Houston here just because they have a little more explosiveness, although that's not what they're known for. I mean, Emmanuel Sharp and
they're really a slow-paced team if you look at it, but they're great in transition.
Yes.
I don't know if slow-paced is the word for it. Low-scoring teams more for it.
They take their time when they need to, and at the same time they can bump it up. But back to what I was saying, Kingston Flemings and Emmanuel Sharp, they're going to be a great duo throughout the season. I look for Nate Ammett to do the same. And I think the Tennessee team has more potential to be a deep team, but right now they have 5 guys and that's it. Their sixth best scorer averages only like 5.5 points, which is not going to get it done. So I'm going to have to go Houston in this one in a tough physical battle.
And if you think about it, in a physical battle, there's going to be fouls.
Yes.
What happens if one of Tennessee's guys foul out?
Yeah.
You're looking at a guy who averages 5 points per game to contribute offensively. It's just going to put him in a bad spot.
Not the recipe for success, but that is all we have for you guys. Thank you guys so much for all your support. We have recently hit 1,000 subscribers, and it's all because of you guys. So we thank you so much, and just thank you for continuing to watch us. And we'll see you guys next time. Peace.